Hey guys, I'm Chad Hoover. Welcome to the Monster Bass channel, where we're going to talk about buzzing toads for big old bass. All right, so pretty much anytime the water temperature gets above 55 degrees, one of the things I'm going to have tied on is a buzzbait. Now, a lot of people think a buzzbait is a low light, throw it in the morning, throw it in the afternoon deal, but when I tie on a black buzzbait, I can throw that thing all day long. It doesn't matter if the sun's shining, it doesn't matter how clear the water is or how stained the water is. In fact, I have a lot more success with black buzzbaits in the middle of the day than I do any other color. I like to use white, I like to use more natural colors, but for whatever reason, that black color really does well. One of the things I like to do, especially after that water temperature gets up and you know those bass are post-spawn and they're really trying to feed up, is to add a frog or a buzz toad trailer to the back of my buzz baits. Now, a lot of people, the first thing that they do when they do that is they tear the skirt off. One of the things that I really like to do is to pulse a buzz bait. A lot of people don't realize this, but you can slow a buzz bait down and let it be running just below the surface, and it's basically an inline spinner, and big fish will wake on that bait and turn off. But if you slow it down and bulge it, they'll smash it. So when you're doing a start and stop, that skirt really gives it an extra bit of a pulse. Looks a lot like a brim, looks like a lot like a bluegill, depending on what part of the country you're in. And it just creates a heck of a lot different look than they've seen in a lot of other cases. Now, the big reason that I like to use the Yama Frog from Yamamoto is it's got a big, broad surface area. The legs are super soft, so you don't have to do a whole lot to get action out of them. I usually start out with it full size and thread it on there so it gives me more surface area and lift. But if the bass are following it and they're not committing, I like to cut off about a 1/4 inch and then work my way all the way down to as much as a 1/2 inch to give that bait a little bit more of a blunt leading edge. The more blunt that leading edge is, the slower you can reel that bait because it creates lift and it creates drag, so you can sit there and really slow reel that thing. So even though I like to fish it slow, I really like to use a long rod. It gives me a lot of leverage for setting the hook. It gives me a lot of leverage for turning those fish away from cover. In this case, I'm using a 7'11" rod, but I'm using a high speed gear ratio reel. I'm using a 7.4 to 1 today, and I'll go as high as an 8.5 to 1 when I really want to burn a buzz bait. But you do need to slow that thing down at certain times. If there's a mistake that I see anglers make more often than not, it's that they throw a buzz bait in open water only, they don't try to get it into tight spots, and they fish it way too fast. Now, I'm gonna be the last person that'll tell you that you can't fish a buzz bait fast. In fact, I think sometimes you can't fish it too fast. You can burn that thing as fast as you can possibly burn it, and as long as it's staying in the water, it's gonna catch fish. But then there's other times, especially post-spawn and off-peak periods when those fish aren't chasing, that you can slow that thing down, run it into stuff, and that's why a trailer, especially a buzz toad, and in this case the Yama Frog, just gives it that extra lift so you can reel it that much slower, and when it bumps into cover and kicks off of there, you're gonna get a lot of reaction bites. All right, so one of the easiest things you can do to increase your hookup ratio with a buzz bait is to add a toad trailer. What it does is it gives the bait more lift, gives it a broader target in the back, makes it more compact, and focuses the bite right where the hook is. Gives it a little bit of action when you're fishing it slower, gives it a little bit of lift to keep it up on the surface. Guys, you can't go wrong adding a toad trailer to the back of your buzz bait.